Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Lord Chaitanya's glories are still confined to the hearts of few devotees only all over the world. So yes, Haridas Thakur not only rose from dead, but he lived with people. So Haridas Thakur moved to Fulia. Haridas Thakur moved to Fulia Gram. Actually, Fulia Gram is next to Shantipur, just next to Shantipur actually. You know, Maya Devi tested Haridas Thakur in Fulia, but Haridas Thakur conquered the power of Maya. Do you know this? Today Fulia is famous, more famous for ladies' saris, because there are Fulia is full of weavers, you know, that would weave the saris. Hare Krishna. So anyway, Fulia was next to Shantipur actually. Haridas Thakur would live in a cave. Haridas Thakur would always find a place in seclusion and he would chant the holy name. You know? So Nirjana Bhajana is for Mahabhagavad devotees. Srila Prabhupada writes, Saraswati Thakur, Bhakti Saraswati Thakur, what type of Vaishnava are you? Actually, Bhakti Saraswati Thakur wrote, you know, Tumi kisera Vaishnava. What type of Vaishnava are you? You want name and fame. You want name and fame, and in seclusion you're chanting the holy name just to get some adoration, profit, and distinction. For that reason, Saraswati Thakur, sannyasi is like 4 types: Kutichak, Bahudak, Parivrajak, and Paramahamsa. What is that? Kutichak, Bahudak, Parivrajak, and Paramahamsa. So he removed the first 2 because Kali Yuga everyone is Rajagun. When somebody is impelled by Rajagun, sitting in one corner and chanting the holy name doesn't work. Sitting in one corner and doing meditation doesn't work. And what he did, Parivrajaka and Paramahamsa. What is Parivrajaka? He told sannyasis, he gave initiation to sannyasis and he told them to travel. Yeah, you also work very hard, not just sit and eat. Kali Yuga means Rajagun. Everyone is impelled by Rajagun. The Rajagun, if you sit down in one place, you cannot survive for a long time. One needs to travel and do service. So Srila Prabhupada gave sannyas. He knew he was actually he was venturing a risk, because he was giving sannyas to these young neophyte, these young Americans. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya saw Lord Chaitanya and said, "You're so beautiful. How can you, you're so beautiful, you're so young, and how can you fight the attack of Maya unless I teach you Vedanta?" That's what Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya thought. So that you can situate yourself on the platform of knowledge to counteract the attack of Maya, Sambandha Jnana. But his Sambandha Jnana was, of course, Maya. That's a different point. But one has to, Shraddha. Shraddha means faith. Faith means pure faith. What is that? Shraddha means faith. Faith means pure faith. Srila Prabhupada has given us pure faith. If you have pure faith, then it will lead to pure devotional service. But if you have mixed faith, then it will lead to mixed devotional service. Wow! Everyone is listening?
Yes,
Prabhuji.
So, Brahmana Brahmite Kona, Bhagyavan Jiva, Guru Krishna Prasade Paya Bhakti Lata Bija. What is Bhakti Lata there? What is that bija there? Pure faith, given by Guru. What is that pure faith? Oh, it is not Karma Kanda bija. It is not Jnana Kanda bija. It is not, what is that? Yoga sadhana. But it is a pure bhakti. Unless somebody realizes Sambandha Jnana, one has to realize Sambandha Jnana. Means one has to realize I am not the body but a spirit soul. One has to realize I am part and parcel of Krishna. At least one has to realize I am not the body. A person who is on the body is shaken up by the demands of lust. Shaken up by the demands of greed and anger and envy. Tamagun. Talking to myself. Even if Srila Prabhupada has given us pure faith, if we are not careful, if we have desires, what we'll do is we will try to sow the seeds of weeds. Sow the seeds of weeds around the Bhakti Lata and choke up Bhakti Lata. Hare Krishna. That's why Sambandha Jnana is very important. Realization of Sambandha Jnana is important. For that, Guru Kripa is needed. And recently I was telling, Chakshudan Diloche Janme Janme Prabhu say. If you take things for granted, what happens? Do you know how wonderfully it attacks? If you meet with an accident on the road, you will run, you will start bleeding, you will run to the hospital. Or you'll call 911 to take you to the hospital. No, Maya doesn't work like that. Drop by drop, drop by drop, drop by drop, drop by drop. I will go to Mangalarti. How many of you, I have never seen even one person in my this many years of life. Suddenly he'll drop from 16 to 0. No, never. I have not seen anybody. Because that's not how the Maya works. Maya works in a wonderful way, even with me also. Where we need to draw strength from, there we develop a mechanical tendency. Where we need to draw strength from, there we develop a mechanical tendency. Mechanical means if you do it, that's what's called familiarity. The Lord's Sweet was which master the only way by which you get the pure service. I bonded as Lord's with great honor and by grace, what is that? By grace, one can ask the suffering after the mercy of Krishna. Are you? I mean, many devotees don't even attend. Then there's a question of reciting Hare Krishna. So if you don't attend, that is one problem. If you attend, there is a mechanical tendency, that is another problem. Bhakti is very difficult, sirs and ma'ams. Chakshudan Diloje Janme Janme Prabhu say. First one is very good. Chakshudan Diloje. Give me eyes of knowledge. But one day I asked myself, Janme Janme Prabhu say, Abbo, I cannot do that. I don't want to come every birth. So Burjan Prabhu says, we want to go back to Godhead, not to render service to Krishna, but to free from pain. That's it. Because until we came to Krishna consciousness, nothing was goal of life was not clear, spirituality was not clear, that Baba, this Baba. But nothing was clear. But ISKCON, you come, Guru gave you Sambandha Jnana. Yes, no doubt. So things were clear. But to progress on Sambandha Jnana, to progress on pure devotional service, when we add motives to that, then what happens? That Sambandha Jnana is colored. That pure faith is colored. It is tainted. It is tainted means that then the weeds appear like Bhakti Lata. Bhakti Lata appears like a weed. Very thin and weak and almost dry, ready to be extinct. But we are, by this time we get some seniority, people listen to us, people have obeisances. Hare Krishna. Right? So bhakti is not easy. Simple though. So anyway, what is it? He start. That is a plight of Kali Yuga. The finer qualities are removed. So Haridas Thakur would live in a cave and he would do Nirjana Bhajan. He can do that. So anyway, I was talking about Kutichak Bahutak Parivrajak Paramahansa Saraswati Thakur removed first two. And he told his disciples to whom he gave sannyas, go on, travel and preach. Because the Rajogun, this is 100 years ago. Now world has become more degraded now. Parivrajaka, travel. Eventually he may become Paramahansa. So when Prabhupada was giving sannyas, Prabhupada knew, he was taking risk. But for the sake of preaching, he gave sannyas. So anyway, Haridas Thakur, what he would do, he would sit and chant in his cave. One time I was telling, right, what is it? There are three types of Mahabhagavats. One pure devotee, Mahabhagavat devotee, he's Siddha. He is in the spiritual world. His legs are there, but he is present here. He's actually from spiritual, Srila Prabhupada, spiritual world. But he's here. He has not come here to purify himself to become Siddha. So that is one pure devotee. He's already there. He's Nitya devotee. Parikar, an associate of the Supreme Lord. The second one, he comes here, through sadhana is sadhana Siddha. He becomes Siddha. One leg is there, one leg is here. So, but he stays to help the people, come to the path of Krishna consciousness. The third one is, third Mahabhagavad devotee was attained the state of Ruchi. He has attained the taste. He crossed Ananda Nivritti, he has crossed Nishta's platform, Ruchi platform. There may be still some remnants of impurity in his heart. But eventually, very soon, he'll become free and he'll reach the Bhava stage and Prema stage. But so the association of that type of Mahabhagavad devotees is very needed for our progress. So anyway, what is that? But Haridas Thakur, Lord Brahma and Shiva long to take the association of Haridas Thakur. Hare Krishna. Krishna would personally, is present in his heart. And all the Brahmins, very innocent, exalted Brahmins would come to take Haridas Thakur association. How fortunate they were. Actually, it is said anybody would chant the name of Haridas Thakur, not Krishna's name. They would make progress. They would eventually attain perfection. That is Haridas Thakur. Anybody would see Haridas Thakur for a second, they would make progress. Supreme Lord would perform the leelas through the body of Haridas Thakur. So when these Brahmins would come to take his association, he was living in the cave he was living, there was a snake. The snake was filled with the poison. It was a venomous snake. The venom of the snake was so high, it would cause burning sensation. And what they did, they would, when the Brahmins would come, the devotees would come to associate with him, they wouldn't bear that burning sensation, the poison. But Haridas Thakur was oblivious to the surroundings, he would continue to stay. So one day all Brahmins came and they decided this is, they brought one actually physician, also a snake charmer to ascertain the situation. He said, no, there is a powerful snake here, a venomous snake here. It is not good for Haridas Thakur to live here. Haridas Thakur was, as I said, he was totally oblivious to the surroundings. But when he found out his people, the devotees coming to see him were uncomfortable. And then he decided to leave. He said, by tomorrow evening, either I should stay or the snake would stay. So, so Haridas Thakur felt, all right, let the snake stay. I'll go. But he did not want to put the devotees in anxiety. When the snake heard that, so they continued the discussions on Krishna. When devotees come together, talk about Krishna, wow, amazing. Prabhu, what did you read? What did you read? What is the lecture you heard? So when devotees come together and discuss Krishna, they purify themselves and they purify the whole world. Narada Bhakti Sutra. Anyway, what is that? When the snake, and it's late evening, they're still conversing. Suddenly the snake came out. Yellow, red and white patches on the body. It's very scary to see such a long snake. So devotees started chanting the name of Krishna. The subdued of Kaliya. So, but the snake left. When the snake left, the foul smell, foul smell of the cave also left. So when Brahmans, the devotees saw that, of course, they were very attached to Haridas Thakur, but the smartas, the atheistic Brahmins, who have strong belief in their seminal lines, and who felt Haridas Thakur as a Muslim, and disrespected him. When they saw this incident, they also developed faith in Haridas Thakur. Wow. And what is that? The snake left. And snake did not want to inconvenience Haridas Thakur and devotees. Hare Krishna. Last week I just touched this. The snake charmer, Kale Krishnadas. The snake charmer, one day Haridas Thakur was passing by, and there is a snake charmer. What is that? That was his business actually. But time Jayapataka Maharaj actually performed his drama also, as a snake charmer, Kale Krishnadas in Malaysia. So, he was actually, he was very good at charming snakes. And he was a devotee, nice devotee. As he was charming, he was actually, he's trying to perform this charming of the snake. He started singing the glories of Krishna. He was reciting the pastime of Krishna subduing Kaliya. Kaliya was a son of Kasyapa Muni and Kudru. So Kadru gave birth to all the snakes, right? And Vinata gave birth to Garuda, right? So anyway, so Kali actually one of the children of Kadru actually. So, but how Krishna punished him, how Krishna subdued him. He was speaking and singing. Vaishnava Brother is dangerous. Sabari Muni gave promise to the fish and cursed Garuda. If you come here, you will die. Garuda, he cannot kill Garuda. There is no death to Garuda. But to obey his curse, Garuda did not come. But then what happened? Sabri fell down and he had to leave the cave. And the cave became the residence of eventually Kaliya, who ate all the fish died actually. One has to be careful of Vaishnava. Then of course Krishna subdued Kaliya. So anyway, he was reciting the pastime and he was singing this whole story in the form of kirtan, and he was playing. And Anantasesh entered in his body actually. And as he was singing, it was nectar. Bhakticharya Swami said he was scared of snakes, but when he came to know snakes are all expansions of Anantasesha Vasuki. Vasuki is also devotee in heavenly planets. He lost the fear. I mean, whatever fear he had, he lost that fear. I mean, I have not developed that, even though I heard that. But he felt all this, everyone is scared of snakes, right? But anyway, Anantasesh entered in his body and he started glory, reciting the past. When Haridas Thakur heard him speak this wonderful pastime, Haridas Thakur instantly fainted. When he instantly fainted, and when he fainted, after some time he got up and he started dancing. When he started dancing, the hairs were standing on his head, tears were pouring from his eyes, and oh wow, he became ecstatic, and when Kali Krishna saw that, the snake charmer, he stood aside respectfully, and he allowed the Haridas Thakur to dance. Amazing. And everybody came to see this wonderful thing. They were watching the transformations Haridas Thakur body was going through and experiencing this different ecstatic emotions. Amazing. But one Brahmana, one envious Brahmana, when he saw that, he also wanted the cheap adoration from public. Haridas Thakur, he finished his dance and he left. And he also, this Brahmana started rolling on the ground as Haridas Thakur did. And he was trying to, imitate the same emotions. Where is Krishna? Where is Krishna? When the snake charmer saw that, he picked up the stick and he started beating him up, beating. When when the snake Kali Krishna started beating him up, he got up and he ran away. The onlookers asked him, what happened? Why, when Haridas Thakur was dancing, you just stood aside with respect, and when this gentleman did the same thing, why you were beating him? What's the difference? Kali Krishna said, thank you for asking such a wonderful question. Krishna consciousness is not easy. Awakening love of God, Krishna's love, Krishna Prema is not easy. Haridas Thakur was a Mahabhagavad. Haridas Thakur is a Mahabhagavad devotee. Supreme Lord performs pastimes through his body. For him, Krishna Bhakti is natural. But this person, he wanted cheap adoration and distinction. He had no ecstasies. So that's why one should discriminate between a natural, genuine devotion and prakrita sahajas. People cry and then they say, where is give me bidi, give me bidi. No, not like that. One time, one great one Kathakar came to Navadvip, and he came to Gaur Kishore Babaji Maharaj's place, and Gaur Kishore Babaji Maharaj's place, and and he started narrating Krishna's intimate stories, Krishna's pastimes, confidential pastimes actually. And he was crying, he was making everyone cry. People really felt enlivened. hearing to this wonderful stories. And as he saw this audience crying, he was crying and telling the stories. They were crying, he was crying. This went on for a very long time. Finally ended. And devotees felt so enlivened. Wow. Haribo, how fortunate we are. So, you're not the body, spirit, soul doesn't work, right? People also want some rasa. So then after he left, Yugal Kishore, he was a blind man that time. Yes, did he leave? Yes. You first wash wherever he said, wash that place with the cow dung and cow urine. That place is contaminated nowadays. You have to purify it. Babaji Maharaj, what are you talking? Maybe it's an offense. He said, no, just clear it. Krishna consciousness is very private. A chaste wife never exhibits her love for husband in public. A person who does that is a prostitute. So he was doing that. That's not right. So it is contaminated, you wash. What is understood. So anyway, what is that? Actually, His Radhana Swami says, these tears, people left and right, they cry, Govinda Madhupurushan, curtain opens, Govinda Madhupurushan, Vrindavan, Guru Maharaj, crying. And that type of tears, they'll wipe out the conclusions of scriptures. That is the line he said one time. They'll wipe out the conclusion of the scriptures. Hare Krishna. That's why we don't see anybody, we don't see all the gurus crying. Then Prabhupada one time he became ecstatic singing Jai Radha Madhava. Prabhupada said, immediately woke up, he got up and he left. Devotees did not know what to do. They started chanting. So one devotee asked, Prabhupada, when you become ecstatic, what should we do? What you have done is right, chant. So why Prabhupada did not show his ecstasy in public? It will become his tradition, Jai Radha Madhava. So no, that is wrong. Right? So we don't show our ecstasies. Tears come. Wonderful, Krishna is giving you a little bit. So for whatever you've done in the past, be grateful and continue. But we don't reveal it to others. We don't show others how exalted we are by showing others. Everyone is listening.
Yes, Guruji. Yes, Guruji.
So what is that? What is that? Some sickness, that is a different thing actually. I'm talking about that exhibition of devotional ecstasy. Actually. Please don't mistake me. So anyway, so that's what the Kali Krishna does. He gave an explanation. This and this. Then one day, one Brahmana living in this village, Harinadi, he came to Haridas Thakur. And came to Haridas Thakur and he said, who told you to chant Hare Krishna? You chant, Haridas Thakur in his cave would always chant loud. You chant the whole name, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. You chant the holy name loud. And who told you to chant the holy name loud? Where is it written? Haridas Thakur said, chanting the holy name loud is 100 times better than chanting the holy name in the mind. If you're doing Nirjana Bhajan, it's called, usually it is Upams Upamsu means you will move the lips. That's it. So it is Upamsu, or maybe a little Vishparam you can hear. So usually, the Mayavadis, they're all meditation, right? Like this. So where is it written? And you chant the holy name. and Chaitanya Bhagavatam, this is mentioned again and again and again. Shravan Bhadrapada Asvija Kartika, 4 months, Lord Vishnu sleeps in Yoga Nidra. And you guys chant so loud, you awake, you wake him up. And this will cause him to become angry, and he'll destroy. This is wrong. Why are you doing this? You people are, you do not know the rules and regulations. Hare Krishna. So, so Haridas Thakur said, quoting scriptures, actually it is said in Varaha Purana, demons take birth in Brahmin families in Kali Yuga. Lord Shiva tells that. Anyway, so what is that? Haridas Thakur quoting scriptures, he said, so he said, chanting the holy name, if you chant in the mind, if you chant, for yourself, you'll get benefit. But if you chant loud, all the birds, beasts, birds, reptiles, they cannot chant the holy name. But when you chant the holy name, they can all hear. Trees, they can all hear and they'll be delivered. Actually, Harinam Chintamani, Haridas Thakur, and Bhaktivinoda Thakur mentions the conversation between Lord Chaitanya and Haridas Thakur. Lord Chaitanya explained, Haridas, what is his concern? How is that this Mlichas and Yavanas are delivered? My Lord, you have chanted the holy name so loud, the vibration goes all around, and whoever hears, whoever heard. So by your chanting, Lord, you have delivered the whole universe. Lord Chaitanya said, what about the Stavara? Stavara means non-moving. Jangama means moving, Stavara means non-moving. The trees and the bacteria and different animals, especially trees. Haridas Thakur said, my Lord, when devotees chant the holy name, there is an echo. That echo is actually the trees chanting. They hear. Whoever hears the vibration, they are delivered. That is their conversation. So Lord Haridas Thakur told, all these animals, they can't chant the holy name. Trees, they can't chant the holy name. But when we chant loud, they hear, they get benefit. Who is better son? A son who maintains himself or a son who maintains 1,000 children of the same father? Tell me honestly. So, what is that? So then this Brahmana said, just give me, actually I have some verses, very nice verses, he says. जप करता है ते उच्च संकीर्तन करी सतगुण अधिक से Purane te dhari. The Puranas say that a person who chants the Lord's name loudly is 100 times more pious than the person who chants to himself. Suno vipra manadiya ihara karana japiya panara sabe kareya poshana. Oh Brahmana, listen carefully to the reason behind this. One who softly chants the holy name liberates only himself. But one who loudly chants the name of Govinda, however, liberates himself along with all the living entities who hear him. Ucha kari karila Govinda Sankirtana Jantu matra suni nai pai vimochana. All the animals, all the non-moving entities, moving entities, they're all liberated, Although all the living entities have a tongue, only the human beings are able to chant the name of Krishna. Tell me, what is wrong with the activity by which living entities who have taken useless births will be delivered? Tell me, what is wrong with the activity by which living entities who have taken useless births will be delivered? If one person may maintain himself, while another may maintain 1,000 people. Of the two, consider carefully is better. This is a superior characteristic of loud chanting. So when Haridas Thakur said that, the Brahmana became very angry. Wow, amazing. Haridasa became philosopher also. It is said in Kali Yuga, this malicious and Yavanas, they will come and preach at the end of Kali Yuga. But I see that happening right now in the beginning of Kali Yuga. Wow. And he said this. That's why one has to be one, unless one has the armor of humility, we take people for granted. And we offend. And what he did, he said, this is happening right now. What is it? If you do not prove to me that this is right, I'll cut off your nose and ears. Haridas Thakur got up and smiled and chanted the holy name. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. No anger. Wow. Shaknoti hai vayashodam prak sarira vimokshanat kama krododbhavam vegam sayuktasya sukhinara. Who is happy in this world? Who is liberated before we give up the body? Prak sarira vimokshanat. So that person who has stopped the force of anger, kama krododbhavam vegam, not just anger, but the power of lust and power of anger, he is truly the liberated person, 5th chapter Gita. He only lives happily in this world. People who are impelled by the lust and anger, they cannot. So that's why Krishna says in Gita, one has to be so much disturbed by the happiness and distress of this world. Happiness comes. Thank you. I mean, we can be grateful to Krishna for having as a recipient of happiness. Distress comes, one should not be so down. That is an attack of Maya. Because when we take birth, it's already written, a portion of distress and happiness to us. But how much bhakti we make, and to what extent of bhakti account, bhakti credits we make, that is not fixed. That is our endeavor. But what is fixed is how much happiness and distress we get, that's fixed. So anyway, Haridas Thakur, who was spared from this world? Anybody comes to this world, they have to go through suffering. This world is designed to frustrate everyone. Nobody is an exception. Actually, one day, actually a couple of months ago, I was in India actually 2 months ago. So I went to this place filled with tulasis everywhere. And one day dog came, lifted the leg and started urinating on tulsi. Hare Krishna. Every day we pluck tulsi out. Tulsi plant is nothing but the hair of tulsi. Can you imagine somebody starts, plucking your hair? How much pain you feel? So nobody, this just to prove the Kalam Sashwatam, Lord Ramchandra went so much, he went through also experienced the separation from Mother Sita. Of course, Yogamaya, no doubt. Act of internal energy. But still, There is pain and suffering, right? But that suffering is cause of happiness because it is internal energy acting. So the point I'm making is, Haridas Thakur, this Brahma himself, wow. Balabhadra Bhattacharya says Lord Chaitanya as a sannyasi, he would take bath in, on his way to Vrindavan, and during, on his way to Vrindavan through Jharkhand forest. It's cold. Lord Chaitanya had no problem. So he would sleep on the grounds. That would cause the hearts of Mukunda and devotees, that hearts of Mukunda and other devotees break when they would see Lord Chaitanya when would do austerities. Anyway, what is a very common denominator in this world? Suffering. So we should not be, like, my Lord, thank you very much. You are purifying me through this. I'm very grateful. Happiness comes grateful to Krishna. That's why one has to have this goal. Yallabdhva chapare labam manyate nadikam tata yasmin sthitona dukkena gurunapi vichalyate. So an endeavoring transcendentalist, he thinks, you make progress, you made, okay, I did this service to this Prabhu. He's happy, it means I made little progress. Oh, I have, I caused a little suffering to this person, So a person who has a goal like this, we should deal with them only. Because they won't give us so much trouble. At least, Atibhautika misery we don't need to go through. 99%. So anyway, what is that? Yes, I use blasphemy. If you don't, Haridas I'll cut off. Haridas Thakur got up, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare walked out. But it's a blasphemy. It is said when we what is that? When we criticize devotees, when we commit a Vaishnava, the devotee will not take any offense, but the dust under his feet takes offense. The dust of his feet takes offense, and we get the reaction. This Brahmana, actually, when Haridas Thakur got up, all the Brahmin community, they were all, practically atheistic, and they did not condemn the Brahmana. They did not say Haridas Thakur was right. They just remained, neutral. Hare Krishna. But anyway, eventually this Brahmana, his nose fell down. He contracted leprosy. And he went through excruciating suffering. But Haridas Thakur already left. Hare Krishna. So same thing. It should be one common thing that we see in Chaitanya Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita is a devotee is going through so much of persecution, criticism, and persecution and criticism. Srivas Thakur, wow, Gopal Chapla, and Srivas Thakur, Gopal Chapla targeted Srivas Thakur. Gopal Chakravarti, when Haridas Thakur went to give lecture in the home of Ravinath Das Goswami's parents, and as the home of Ravinath Das Goswami, Govardhan Majumdar and Aranya Majumdar. That's where when he was giving lecture in the power of the holy name, Gopal Chakravarti targeted. And Devananda Pandit disciples, they couldn't understand the glory of Srivas Thakur, and they threw him out when he was becoming ecstatic. And interestingly, Devananda Pandit did not say anything. And he also became part of the defense. So here in this chapter, when it is written, what is that? One should not have so many disciples. Otherwise, what happens is, Guru has to take karma. And if Guru is not properly situated, he'll go through difficulties. Of course, Srila Prabhupada, what is that? Infused his disciples with unlimited power. And these disciples, Srila Prabhupada disciples, they go through so much suffering personal body, health issues. They continue to initiate actually. Amazing. It's about a great selflessness. And we can all learn from action. Really amazing. Because Guru, these are all. We are all. Hare Krishna. We are all. Madhavi Kaburangi Matjama, please. So we are all Kali Yuga disciples. One should be very grateful to spiritual master. My Guru Maharaj has taken my karma, and I'll what are the vows I have taken, I'll uphold those principles. I'll join my 16 round, follow 4 principles, and do service. Sincerely. So lifetime. One should be resolved. And actually, what is that? 2 years before Bhakti Swami left, actually he did initiation in Florida. And he had one more regulative principle, Hare Krishna. I'll not criticize any devotees. Or if you criticize a devotee, then it will be Vaishnava Prad plus it will be Guru Prad also. Hare Krishna. Because he understood this criticism of devotees is ruining our consciousness and our movement. So he made disciples take that vow. Amazing. So we should not criticize. We should take a vow actually. We should try sincerely at least. So anyway, what is that? But this, what happened? He paid the price, heavy price. So because this is Haridas Thakur, Hare Krishna. Okay. The Rosmini thought, I'm a mystic sage, expansion of Rudra. He's after a king, but this is not after a king. He's not ordinary king. Krishna's devotee. Mahabhagavad devotee, Amar Maharaj Ambarish. You have to pay heavy price. So that's why the advancement is not in terms of years, but in terms of the quality of the bhakti one practices, the realizations they have. Somebody may be very young, they may be continuing from so many lives, previous lifetimes. They may be very advanced, at the age of 15, 20. Somebody at the age of 50, 60 may not be that much advanced. So in bhakti, the seniority is based on the realizations and maturity. As well as Radhana Swami says, there is no substitute for maturity in bhakti. And because we are all covered by 3 moods, we cannot do even 1 inch above the modes in which we are in. So, wow, that's great. So as you keep on doing sadhana intensely, day after day, month after month, year after year, slowly Krishna, when Krishna when Krishna is pleased with us, Guru is pleased with us, we make progress. Nishta, Ruchi, Asakti, Bhava, Sthayi Bhava, and Prema. So one should, Vaisesha Prabhu says, I don't want to be a great devotee, I want to be a sincere devotee. Very nice statement. So Einstein says, don't become a man or woman of success. Become a man or woman of value. That's a nice point. Because success is temporary. It'll come and go. But value and service, someone has values, somebody preserves the values, somebody is very service oriented, everyone loves him or her. All right. So anyway, Haridas Thakur got up and he left. But to ask forgiveness, Haridas Thakur was not there. So today we have seen what is that the artificial ecstasies and original ecstasies of the real ecstasy of Haridas Thakur and imitative artificial ecstasy of that Brahmana who exhibited this out of envy. And Power of chanting the holy name loud. How it is better than chanting soft, chanting in the mind. And the power of blasphemy. The dangers of not the power, dangers of blasphemy, offending Vaishnava. These are the three things we saw that. So next week, actually, we will see Lord Chaitanya going to Gaya. Actually, Lord Chaitanya, again, he was playing the role of an Nimaya Pandit, Gaur-Sundar, but he saw the devotee's distress. Ever the smartas would come and persecute. Hey guys, you're good for nothing. You chant the holy name all the time. When the deities are put to rest, and during the 4 months of Chaturmasya, you chant the holy name, you will be destroyed by Vishnu. What is this? And devotees, because they were very few in number, they would cry. They would feel so sad. Sometimes they would cry. And he observed that. So he decided to he decided to inaugurate Sankirtan movement, as a Yuga avatar. He decided to relieve the distress of the devotees. And he decided to give everyone awaken the love of God of everyone. But he said, let me go first to Gaya to offer Pinda to my father. Then I'll come back and I'll inaugurate the congregational chanting of the holy name Nam Sankirtan and inundate this whole world in that ecstasy of Nam Sankirtan. So Lord Chaitanya next week we'll see how he went to Gaya and how started exhibiting his his nature is Krishna, and the intent with which he has descended to this world, his desires he wanted to fulfill. That we'll see in future. Thank you very much. I will end it here. Any question or comment? Otherwise, we'll end it.
Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam, Prabhuji, Jai Shri Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Amazing class. And you brought out so many wonderful points. And I have a question. In the beginning of the class, Prabhuji, you mentioned about Nirjana Bhajan. Haridas Thakur was doing Nirjana Bhajan for some time, Prabhuji. And Prabhuji, if it is inappropriate, please ignore this question, Prabhuji. In our movement, is it prohibited, Prabhuji, Nirjana Bhajan, or is it also still considered as one of the stages when a devotee leaves his body or during his advanced stages of devotion?
No, nice. Thank you. Nice question. Usually, Nirjana Bhajan means in the ancient days, they would stay aloof from the people, and they would not come to the people at all. There is no preaching. They would just stay in the caves and perform their sadhana, and eventually they'll attain the position of Siddha. That is Nirjan Bhajan. Nowadays, no problem. So Saraswati Thakur and Bhaktivinoda Thakur, because of the prevailing Rajogun of this age, Saraswati Thakur condemned it. But in our devotees circles now, for example, they preach throughout the year, and what they do, they need a break because they mix with so many people, and these senior devotees, they also initiate, they mix with people, take their karma, whether they're guru or not. So they need a break. All the senior devotees, we have been practicing for 15, 20 years. So it's a tradition to go to Vrindavan, Mayapur for a month and do sincere sadhana, take a break from, the normal routine. So that also they don't do. In seclusion, they go with one or two, three devotees, and so they come into the morning, Mangalarti and chant holy name, rest of the day, of course, they just, with a group of devotees, they discuss and the Krishna Katha, and that's how they rejuvenate, they charge their spiritual batteries actually. So somebody like, on the spiritual master's level, yes, they may like maybe 1 or 2 hours, because our Prabhupada has very strict, Prabhupada, the guidelines are very clear, and all the disciples and the seniors, they follow very nicely. So what is that? For that reason, everyone into the preaching actually. Every devotee, every senior devotee, sannyasi, everyone sannyasi into preaching, but just take a break because they need that break actually. And then they intensify the sadhana to recharge the batteries. I don't call that a quote unquote nirjana bhajana, but and you made one more point. Somebody is on the level of leaving the body. Yes, nobody can be around. So, and that's why Prabhupada said, work now, samadhi later. So at the end of their life, one time will come when we may not be able to do anything. Then only sadhana, that's it. So I don't even call it nirjan bhajana. And even if you do that time, because you're so, what is it, incapacitated. That's the only thing you can do. You should do it, right? But before that, you have utilized the energy of your human form in Krishna's service, but not Maya service. It's a choice to us. You want to utilize your human energy in Krishna's service or Maya service. It's minute to minute. It's a choice. But we need to choose Krishna over Maya actually. You understanding?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Does it answer your question?
Prabhuji, that's very, very helpful, Prabhuji. I'm very grateful. Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Anyone wants to add?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
No, Roshi.
Prabhuji, in Bhagavad Gita 2.1, the first 2 lines say material compassion, lamentation, and tears are sign of ignorance. Prabhuji, sometimes when we come in front of deities, Prabhuji, or when we are going through some suffering, Prabhuji, tears come even after following for some years, Prabhuji, doing some sadhana. Prabhuji, is that right, Prabhuji?
Somebody has to meet. So the answer is this. Somebody is weak somebody is very sick, somebody is very weak, somebody is helpless, tears will come. There is nothing wrong in that. But what Prabhupada has written is right. If you are, so nowhere it is written crying is bad, in fact, crying is a process by which your heart is relieved actually, like when you are, when your close relatives come, your friends come, devotees come, you cry. That's, that's perfectly all right, So when you cry, your heart becomes light. You share your problem by crying actually. And you expect solace. We are not advanced. But what type of tears are condemned here is, you want to show others you're a great devotee. Tears are coming before, when you come before deities. Actually, when you come before deities, tears are coming. That's good. You're making progress. But if you try to show it to others that you're more advanced than anybody, or you're really advanced, you have made a lot of progress. That is where it is. These are artificial tears. That is where, that type of, when you show others that these tears are coming, that's not good actually. That type, that nature is condemned. But you're going through some trouble, and you want some solace. You have become helpless. So you're sick, and you need support from your thing. So you express your suffering to others, your friends and relatives and devotees, by crying. It's okay. But I want to tell you this, having said all these things, we are talking more on spiritual circles, not on material things. So the line you quoted, compassion, if you show compassion to somebody on the bodily level, yes, it is mode of ignorance. Oh, you don't have this, you don't have money to buy the watch, you don't have this. Ignorance, you don't have money to buy jewelry. They have purchased, BMW. Do you have only Toyota Camry? So sad. That's nonsense, actually. You understand?
Yes, Prabhuji.
So, but an advanced state, yes, we don't cry. One day, a very advanced state, you'll restrain. One great Mahatma came to in the audience of Rupa Goswami, Sanatana Goswami, all the Goswamis, and all the this advanced devotees. They were there in Vrindavan, and he started narrating the pastimes. Very, very, the loving dealings and the height of Vipralamba of separation. And he was mentioning devotees were fainting actually, because of the purity of this Mahatma. One person did not move an inch, and he completely had full control on his senses. It was Rupa Goswami. His breath was like, it'll burn. That much hot his breath was. But Rupa Goswami did not cry. So he restrained, he restrained his emotions before others. So that's why, you don't see, Prabhupada, or you don't see, actually, even gurus, you don't see them cry. Totally they restrain. I don't know if you heard Radha Gopijana lecture of Vrindavan 2002.
I heard, Prabhuji.
Maharaj was explaining about his dealings with Ghanashyam Babaji. I want to encourage everyone, if those of you have not, should. Whenever, I used to watch, actually spiritually down, I would watch this video. And those days, actually, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Actually, last year also I watched it. Maharaj, that is the only time I saw him, actually. He would say, I'm very sorry, he would say that, actually. He would hold, but of course he didn't. He broke into tears, but he did not cry, actually. 2, 3 times it. So that emotion is natural, Prabhu. We have feelings, we are not like rocks. But the beauty lies in control, especially in front of others. The Maharaj stopped and started crying, everyone will start again, the rivers will flow. Then people will start generalizing down the line after 20, 30, 40 years. Bhakti means crying. And then Hare Krishna's means whenever Kirtan happens, people would cry. No. That's why Prabhupada did not give importance to the mystic powers, did not give importance to all these things, because these, people of neophytes will have, improper understanding and create weeds on the path of bhakti. Does it answer your question?
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you so much.
Any other question or comment? I think we'll end it here. It's late.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Prabhuji, can I ask a question?
Yes.
Prabhuji, I was just, when you said that, it might be a layman question, Prabhuji, but when we, like how Weber Prabhu said, when we are going through difficult situations, we cry for Krishna. So, is it okay for us to cry for Krishna? I've just heard in one long back somehow that we should not call Krishna for every small thing. I'm trying to understand, should we or should we not, Prabhuji?
We are not, thank you for the nice question. I'll try my best, but correct me if I'm wrong. We can ask, Amma, we are not on the level of Kunti, where she said, give me trouble. What is that verse? Kunti said,
Vipadakshantu.
Vipada Santa Sashwa Tatra Tatra Jagat Guru. Give me trouble. She's the only one in the history of the mankind. Wow. That she went through hell, Hare Krishna. Bhavato Darshanam Yashadapnar Bhavadarsham. So we are not on that level of Kunti. We should not ask that type of prayers. We should not offer that type of prayers. So, but so thing is, when you are going through trouble, actually I'll tell you this. One time, one young girl came to New York, just married. She came to me and said, she came with her husband actually. I said, Amma, what you prayed? She said, I told all my problems to Krishna, she said. And I said, we don't, we don't download all our problems to Krishna. Krishna is not like a problem solver for all of our problems, I said. Then she said, if he's the only father, if not him, with whom we can share? I said, wow, that is great. Then I told her, I agree with you. So whom can we share? She said, you have that type of bhakti, perfectly all right. So that is one level, Amma. We can, what is that? That's why we are not on the level of Kunti. We are simple people. So if our, what is that? Healths are good, our mental position is good, we'll be able to chant our rounds. We don't have so many, what do you call that? Great desires. So there is nothing wrong asking Krishnas for help. But honestly speaking, Sivaram Maharaj says that is not pure devotion. What is that? Four people? Chaturvida Vajantyamam Jana Sukritanurjana Artha Jigyas Vardati Jnanaj. So that's you are taking shelter of Krishna. Not many people do that. You're doing it perfect. But it is, Sivaram Maharaj writes, it is mixed devotion. Artho, distressed. So initial years you can do that. But when you want to make more and more progress, honestly speaking, you take shelter of the holy name, cry that you can't cry. And, actually one devotee, Gaur Prabhu, he was Maharaj's servant and he became sick. Brahmachari. And Radhana Swami told him, and every day in the evening after Brahmachari class, everyone would pray for him. Maharaj told all the Brahmacharis to pray for him because he was actually saffron Brahmachari. And Maharaj told him, don't ask Krishna anything but pure devotion service. Maharaj told him. Amma, he took, it's 20 years now. Up to 15 years, doctors could not recognize what his disease was. And he still is in saffron. So the point I'm making is, Maharaj told him, just only ask for pure devotion service, nothing else. But again, somebody is on one level, we should not imitate artificial. So if you're all right, Brahmachari situation is different, Grahastha situation is different, and mother's position is different. So our situations are different. What applies for one may not apply for another. My simple answer is to you, if you feel you need Krishna's help so that you can progress in bhakti, in any given situation, if you ask me, there is nothing wrong. You understand?
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
But I want to give at the same time another example also. This is the height of examples. When I heard, I was shocked. One day Draupadi came to meet gopis. And said, hey, this is Draupadi. When she was on the verge of being disrobed, she called Krishna, and Krishna just came and released unlimited amount of saris to protect. Draupadi said, then the gopi said, what, for such a small thing you need to disturb Krishna? So what? So this is another level. All right, what is wrong? All right, if that is the end of the day, it will die. But why should I disturb Krishna? That is another level. More or less like in Kunti praying, like when I heard, wow, that is Gopi Bhakti. Our movement, that much extent it will take us there. We have Kunti on one level asking for suffering, though she went through a lot of suffering. We have, Braj Bhakti, where gopis are telling. I mean, purposefully I didn't tell so much, but, so you understood, right? Oh, so what? We need to disturb Krishna for that. So we glorify Draupadi left and right for this, but it came to a next level. Wow. So, but again, these are all the levels. But honestly speaking, whatever works for us to chant our 16 notes, tomorrow, day after tomorrow, I'll take up, we take shelter of Krishna for that. There is nothing wrong. That's what I feel. I hope it answered your question. Anyone has any better comment, please?
Thank you, Prabhuji. Yes, thank you. Very grateful, Prabhuji.
This was a superb discussion, Prabhuji. Really grateful to you.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Dhanyavad pranam. Prabhuji, just slightly got confused, Prabhuji. My understanding is our essence of life is, and all the scripture says to remember Krishna, never forget Krishna. And with that, whether it's a good times or bad times, we should always remember Krishna, isn't it, Prabhuji?
Yes.
So if that is still I'm not sure. I know you explained in many different ways. I'm not sure. Is there anything downside of remembering Krishna in good times and bad times? Why Gopi said to Draupadi and don't remember Krishna? I don't understand.
Oh, what is that last line?
Why gopis mentioned to Draupadi, Mother Draupadi, why you remember Krishna when you are in tough times?
No. Draupadi was from our side. She's famous for when she was in distress, right? She was about to be disturbed for a chaste wife. Becoming naked in front of 40,000 people is worse than death. So Draupadi called Krishna, because for a chaste wife, becoming naked in front of somebody else is worse than death. So that's why she called Krishna for help. There is a need, because she was Gajendra called Krishna because he was distressed, he was on the verge of death. Draupadi is also on another verge of death because she was losing her chastity. So, but when you think, what is that? You're not this body, you're on the spiritual platform, so you don't want to disturb Krishna for, that is Gopi's level, Prabhu, so you can call Krishna for pure devotional service, you can chant Krishna's name. Gopis, they chant Krishna's name and they see Krishna in the holy name, so that's why Krishna says that what napareham niravadya samyudam, that verse is there. So can you imagine, gopis don't want anything from Krishna. So Krishna tells gopis, so I don't have anything to give you. So I don't have anything to give you. You go to Bill Gates says, I don't have anything to give you. It's cheating. So Krishna is Supreme Lord, he's owner of everything. He's telling gopis, I don't have anything to give you. Why? Gopis don't want anything from Krishna. They're happy serving Krishna. Krishna, Kola Sridhar is happy serving Lord Chaitanya. Lord Chaitanya is asking Kola Sridhar, ask something, I don't want anything. Kola Sridhar doesn't ask their meal. Sridhar had more holes in the roof. Then the roof itself has more holes in the dhoti than dhoti itself. But Sridhar doesn't want anything from Krishna. Sridhar was also like, his neighbors would come and throw, banana, eat it. But Sridhar never asked anything from Krishna. That is one devotional service. But the moment expectation will come, it is not pure devotional service. You're understanding? The moment expectation comes, it is not pure devotional service. So on one hand, that's one level though, but that's, yes, we with tears, wow, that's the Supreme Lord incarnated and, he released unlimited number of amounts of sari and he protected Draupadi. We discuss this past time. Amazing, no doubt. But there is a next level to it. That's what I said. Now Gajendra past time, Krishna came, protected Govindra. Great. But there is a next level. Understanding?
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
We will end it now. Thank you very much. Dandavat. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Chaitanya Bhagavatam ki jai.